You're going to want to stick around today because we are going to make some delicious honey whole wheat pan rolls using this cookbook. Dinner rolls that you can serve for your family or for guests that come over. You can freeze these ahead of time and then reheat them or not as you choose. So yeah, come along, let's learn how to do it. Okay, to make the honey whole wheat dinner pan rolls, you're going to need half a cup of honey, or a third cup if you're at higher elevations, which I am. So I'm just using a third cup of honey for me. A fourth a cup of canola oil, 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 large egg, half a cup of nonfat dry milk powder, half a cup of instant potato flakes, 1 1/2 cups of whole wheat flour, and then about 3 1/4 cups of bread flour. You may not need to use all of your bread flour, but you'll probably need about that much. Now for our yeast, you're going to need 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast. And if you're at a higher elevation, you want to take out about 1/2 teaspoon. And that's what I did here. So I have 1 tablespoon minus 1/2 teaspoon. And then you're going to need 2 cups of warm water. Pour 1 cup of warm water into a small bowl. Sprinkle your yeast and your sugar into the water and stir until it's dissolved. So we have our oil, our honey, and our egg in here. Next we're going to add our dry milk powder, our salt, our instant potato flakes, our yeast. Look how puffy that got. And we're going to give it a mix. Okay, see it's real liquidy right now. And then we're going to add the bread flour in 1 cup at a time. This dough, when you make rolls, you want it as moist as possible, so you want to have it it may be quite sticky, but you want to have it as moist as you can possibly work with. Okay, now you want to knead it for 5 minutes. Set your timer for 5 minutes. Okay, it's been 5 minutes. Turn it off. Let's see if we think that we can work with this dough. It may be too soft. I may have to add more flour. It's not too bad, but I think it needs a little more flour, or it may just not hold its shape in the pan. But like I said before, it's better to have less flour than too much because it will just dry it out. Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit more flour here. It won't be too much. Now let's mix this in on medium. Let's check our dough. All right, we are going to now turn this out onto a floured board. We're going to get a little flour on our board. Spread it out a little bit. And we're going to get our dough from the Bosch. Now it's going to be a very sticky dough, and that's what you keep it sticky as you can. And that's what will cause it to be a nice moist dinner roll for you. Okay? Get flour on your hands while you get it out, and it will help not stick so much. You know, some recipes, the dough doesn't stick so much, but this has whole wheat in it, which I love to use whole wheat when I can, and as much as possible, because it is definitely the better choice for your health. The white flour is devoid of all fiber for the most part. Doesn't have all the nutrients. It's been denatured basically of all of its nutrients. So we got it out. Yeah, it's all gone. My hands, look at them. Sticky. So let's get some more flour out. I'll be kneading that. So we're going to get it on both hands. We're just gonna roll this and knead it just for about a minute, because we did such a good job with the Bosch. If you have a hand mixer, it does such a good job. You don't hardly have to knead it by hand at all. So it's not sticking much now. Maybe the more I work that flour in, it will start sticking again. Dough feels so good to work with. Remember, don't get too much extra flour in there. We'll dry it out. Okay, so now that should be good. So now we want to take a bowl and spray it. So just give it a little coating. This is so that the dough won't stick to the bowl. See that? And you're just going to take your dough, put it in, and just roll it once or so because you're just coating it. And then you cover it with like a cotton towel, or you can cover it with plastic. And at this point, you let it rise till it's doubled in size. Or the other option is you can put it in your refrigerator for overnight and let it slowly rise in there. So we're gonna let this set out, and you just leave it on the counter. Just let it set till it's doubled in size, which could take, depends on how hot a day it is. If it's cold, it will take it longer. If it's warm, it'll be faster. So probably in about an hour and a half, this might be ready to go. We'll check. I'm gonna melt this butter. The melted butter will be used to brush on the tops of the rolls once we form them. Get your bowl of dough, and you'll be turning it out onto the slightly floured surface. Just a thin layer of flour. Then you take this out, divide in half, keep flour under here. And divide each into 16 pieces. Okay, now you want to take your pan. This is a nice big chafing pan that I love for when you're cooking for a crowd. Spray it. So you take your dough and you're going to always pull the top down to the bottom. So you're just always folding it over until you have it like gathered at the bottom. This is the bottom. Not so pretty, but when you set it down, it'll have that nice ball. So then you're going to dip the top of your rolls in butter and then set them in your pan here. These will rise again, and then they'll be double in size, and they'll be plenty big for a meal. So just keep dipping your balls in to here. You need to see it again. Okay, so you have your dough like this, and then you're just gonna fold it over, all towards the bottom. Just keep doing it till you have it a nice little ball. No better. Okay, now divide this one up. If you have a scale, you can lay these out. It makes it a little easier to know that they're all the same. Now, they are ready to let rise till they're double in size. And if you would like to learn more recipes to cook for your family, or you're having guests over and you're wondering what's for dinner and I'm intimidated to cook for other people, come by here. Come by Serendipity's Kitchen, because we can teach you how to make meals and dishes for more than just your 5 and no more. Okay, let's get back to our rolls. We are almost done. So we got the bread was in the refrigerator overnight. So now we're going to let it set for about 20 minutes before putting it in the oven. And while it's sitting here, we're going to preheat the oven to 375. Okay, we've melted our butter. Now we're going to brush the tops with butter. Just go through and brush them all. Going in the oven. Let's check on our rolls in the oven. Oh, don't they look good? They are now ready to eat fresh from the oven, or you can let them cool on the wire rack and then place them in the freezer. If you choose to put them in the freezer, when you remove them, you can either reheat them or just let them come to room temperature and serve them as is. They're really good. You could find the recipe in the description box below, and it will make about 58 rolls. Have you ever made rolls before? If not, I hope this video has inspired you to try it. They're easy.